Tender Loving Care is a truly bizarre video game, if you can even call it a video game. It's essentially a movie with interactive elements and a point-and-click 3D environment you can explore in between video sequences. Released in 1998, Tender Loving Care was originally intended to be shipped under the Trilobite label, the creators of the critically acclaimed point-and-click FMV puzzle games The Seventh Guest and The 11th Hour. I covered The Seventh Guest briefly in a Halloween video.
Blood inside the library, blood right up the hall, dripping down the attic stairs. Hey guests, try not to fall.
And the similarities with its 3D environment and corny FMV acting fits right at home with its unwanted sibling. The producer of TLC, Rob Landeros, was fired from Trilobite before its release, so it was instead shipped under his new company, Aftermath Media. And I can understand why Trilobite didn't want their name attached to this despite the similarities. The Seventh Guest and the 11th Hour were very much video games despite their FMV sequences, whereas TLC is a glorified movie with what amounts to menu screen elements found in early 2000s DVDs. Not to mention the exceedingly, and I mean exceedingly sexual nature of this game, a far cry from Trilobite's goofy Seventh Guest.
I have wanted to have sex with another couple. The size of a man's penis, making love in the dark is...
The story revolves around Michael and Alice Overton, a beautiful white couple living in a big white house with a gigantic garden and pond in the middle of a suburbia that's so idyllic that I wondered whether the twist would be that they were in the Matrix the entire time. They recently lost their child Jodie in a car accident, causing Alison, the mother, to enter a catatonic state of denial in which she still believes that their daughter is alive. Both Michael and Alison are terrible actors.
I want you out of here! So how was it?
How was what?
Your talk with Catherine.
Oh, very nice.
In order to help Alison, Michael hires a live-in psychiatric nurse called Catherine, a kind of femme fatale whose motives become increasingly questionable as the story progresses.
I'm looking forward to meeting your wife,
She thinks you're here to take care of our daughter.
Jodie.
Yes. Jodie. You know the situation?
Of course. I'd like to change first.
Will you wear a nurse's uniform or something?
No, but I brought one in this case. It's appropriate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to get started.
We play as a sort of disembodied ghost who acts as a psychiatrist and detective under Dr. Turner, played by the legendary actor John Hurt. I have no idea how they got him to do this game, or why he thought this would be a good career move after The Elephant Man in 1984. Dr. Turner acts as both a character in the story and as the game's narrator, periodically asking the player their thoughts on what's happening in the story thus far, as well as giving them a psychiatric evaluation at the end of every scene.
If I were a flea, I would be a miserable, depressed flea.
The intro is unbearably long with a sweeping aerial shot akin to The Shining, except with pretentious operatic music. I'm sorry, but this is not a Shakespearean drama. There are no likeable characters in TLC, which is a bold move for a game with over an hour of video footage. When Catherine first turns up, she's rude to the taxi driver and then just stares at him like a lunatic.
This man says it's a $50 fare from the airport.
Lady, it's 25 miles. $2 a mile.
Mrs. Randolph?
Yes. Am I being overcharged?
I'll take care of it.
So immediately you side with Michael, expecting him to be a nicer human being, but instead he starts questioning her credentials because she's young, a woman.
I just expected someone with more experience.
I've been a psychiatric nurse for 6 years, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist.
I'm sorry. You just don't look like a Mrs. Randolph to me. I was expecting an older person, maybe a semi-retired widow or something.
If in your opinion I'm unsuitable, then I'll leave.
No, I don't.
On the other hand, if I don't fit your image of a Mrs. Randolph, then why don't you just call me Catherine and let's get on with it?
What's with that smirk, you condescending bastard? You're surprised that it's rude to hire someone and then immediately start belittling them.
I wonder why Michael was so taken aback with Catherine's appearance. He said she wasn't what he expected, but he seemed to be saying that if a woman has a Mrs. in front of her name, She should be older. Now, what does that say about Michael?
He's a twat.
What emotion do you feel most strongly toward Michael?
Contempt.
I like to watch people doing intimate things.
What? These questions can influence the story, change some scenes and guide you towards one of several endings. At first, I thought this was a really good mechanic, but then you may be thinking you'll solve a mystery or help the characters towards a good ending, but you don't. They don't really matter at all. And they're littered with bizarre sexual questions that have absolutely no bearing on anything whatsoever. I don't understand it. I think this game is keeping a record of everyone's answers to blackmail them later and recuperate their costs. After you watch the scene and answer the questions, you can walk around the house by clicking prompts on the screen or navigating via the map. You can read the characters' diaries, journals, rummage through Catherine's personal drawers like a sex pest. It gives you an insight into the characters' motives that actually ruins the story in my opinion. I checked Catherine's diary and on her first day in the house, she hasn't even slept yet. She wrote, "The way he looked at me, watching his eyes wander over my breasts and hips filled me with an unexpected rush of excitement. Part of me wanted to encourage those eyes." Well, now we know she's up to something, and the next 20 minutes of footage tries to make us question whether she is or not. We know she is from reading her diary. The game will later ask us whether Catherine is untrustworthy. We know she is. The gameplay ruins the story. And again, it's all sex. Everything is related to sex. Michael's journal is about him recounting the time he had sex with a girl he had just met in front of all his friends. And he starts his journal entry by talking about his wife, Alison, who lost her daughter in a car accident, and he's complaining about how they don't have sex anymore, the bloody arsehole.
Allie, the nurse is here.
Did you say something, Michael?
I said the nurse is here.
Oh,
She's very good.
is she?
She has excellent qualifications.
Jody's not gonna like her. She's gonna be afraid of her, and she's not gonna like her.
Hello, Allison.
Allison, this is the nurse.
I'm Catherine. Hi. I'm here to help you. I know what you've been through.
Alison quickly warms to Catherine and they become friends. Alison has previously undergone 6 months of therapy with Dr. Turner to no avail, so you'd think that this is a good thing, but Michael immediately has a problem with it.
So where is she now?
I don't know. In a room, I suppose.
She didn't want to speak to me first?
No.
This game's way of showing that Alison has mental problems is making her talk in a light, ditzy voice like a Disney princess.
Michael! Oh, Michael!
What? You look so excited. What's going on?
It's Jody.
What about Jody?
She's sitting up. She's sitting up in bed.
Really?
Yes. Catherine got her to do it. We were just talking about how she needed to try harder, and Catherine said she should be sitting up in bed. And she went right upstairs and got her to do it. Just like that. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Somehow this ends with Michael walking out into the garden and looking up at Catherine's window. He even moves closer to the tree for a better view, removing all doubt that he's an unredeemable sex pest. Whoops, better cover those up. So right in the beginning we discovered that this guy is a horrible chauvinist, cares little for the genuine care of his mentally ill wife, and is willing to spy on vulnerable women in the state of undress. Again, if he hadn't read her diary and seen clear evidence that she wants to flirt with Michael, this story would be a lot more gripping. There's little to no ambiguity about whether her intentions with Michael are professional or not. You can't condemn Michael for suggesting that an attractive young woman can't act professionally and then show in her diary that she can't act professionally. But you may be thinking that Alison may show herself as an independent, well-written character with agency as the story progresses. Good luck to you.
She's teaching me meditation.
What was it like?
It's wonderful.
No, I mean, what did you do?
We meditated.
It wouldn't be true to say, however, that the story didn't interest me, it just confuses me. Catherine continues making progress with Alison while Michael becomes increasingly passive-aggressive about it. It's clear that there's a part of him that doesn't want his wife to get better and that he resents the connection she's formed with Catherine. That's interesting when you don't know who to side with or believe.
You can go upstairs and get dressed, Mr. Overton. We'll call you when we're ready.
Well, go on, Michael. Michael?
All right.
Michael barges into Dr. Turner's office to give him a piece of his mind.
No, look, it is an emergency. I really need to talk to him.
Please have a seat. And when he's through with his session, I'll ask when he can see you.
You don't like her, is that it?
No, it's not that I don't like her.
Has there been some kind of problem?
Her methods seem unorthodox.
How so?
Well, she's very authoritarian, for one thing. She's virtually bossing me around in my own house.
Yes. Catherine is used to a lot of responsibility. She was a head nurse at a very young age. She is extremely intelligent, you know.
Although her name is Mrs. Randolph, I get the feeling she no longer has a husband.
Divorced quite recently.
Guess she's better at solving other people's problems than her own.
What a horrible thing to say. Michael goes home to sit in the rain and think about what he's done. He walks up the stairs to blaring opera music into his deceased daughter's room and has a flashback to the night of the car crash. It would have been an emotional scene if he wasn't so unlikable and John Hurt didn't immediately start asking me questions afterwards.
Jodie can be best described as which of the following?
I'm not sure.
Do you believe Michael has ever been unfaithful?
Maybe he has.
Can a woman be both passive and sexy?
I don't think so. You need passion, you know.
I have dabbled in bizarre sexual acts.
Well, yeah, to be honest,
FBI, open up!
Michael voices his dissatisfaction to Catherine yet again.
Excuse me.
Yes?
This thing with the television.
What thing?
Bringing a set in and actually hooking it up.
What about it?
Well, it's ridiculous.
Oh? Why?
Who's gonna watch it?
Who listens when you come in and say goodnight to Jody? Is that ridiculous too?
Allison does. I do it for her.
You've had a depressed, dysfunctional wife for 6 months. I've been here for 2 days and you're already seeing results. And you think you know better than I do? So what do you want? Do you want me to leave?
No.
Catherine convinces Alison to get a dog, which Michael, maybe rightly so this time, disagrees with.
Catherine thinks we should get a pet for Jody.
A what?
A little dog like Punky.
Animals are out of the question.
He goes back to Dr. Turner's office, but this time she's waiting for him.
Then you think I should do what Catherine says.
Yes, I think it would be most helpful.
And I should get her the dog.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful idea.
If you didn't already dislike this guy enough, then add dog hater to the list.
Whoa. What's that? I rescued you from the pound, remember? You'll regret that.
Then things begin to get strange. It turns out that Catherine has been giving Alison private meditation sessions in her room. And if you know anything about very wealthy people living in secluded homes, then you know what that's code for. Catherine even invites Michael to a session.
Perhaps you should try a session with me.
I don't think so.
Well, why not? You just said you were interested.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did, Michael. I just heard you.
You'll be a happier person, I guarantee it.
Look, I just don't want to, all right?
At work, Michael continues to check up on Alison and treat everyone around him with utter contempt. When he arrives back home, he decides to go speak to her during her meditation session and... the heavenly glow of a naked woman's body. She looks like she's about ready to beam up to the mothership. What do you think Michael does next? 1. Stop entering Catherine's private bedroom unannounced. 2. Respect his marriage and stops trying to catch Catherine naked. 3. Insists Catherine leaves and stops seducing himself and Alison, or 4. Goes back into her room for that meditation session. Well, what can I say? He even comes with a free massage.
You're early. That's good. Come in. You don't have to be afraid of me. I'm just here to make you feel better.
It does feel good.
It's supposed to. Why don't you take off your shirt?
Stop! You violated the law. It's been too long since I've seen a good brawl. I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm! Remember the Emperor!
I can't show you any of this. It's not particularly graphic, but there is nudity. TLC likely sold the majority of its copies on the hopes it was a softcore porno, and if you're going in for that reason then you'd be sorely disappointed. In fact, this entire thing is like 10 minutes of story you skip when watching porn, except it leads to nothing. Apparently the only place TLC sold well is Germany, which doesn't surprise me, but I guarantee there are a lot of angry, disappointed Germans the day this was released. The way Catherine is playing with his hair would make you believe she has some kind of secret affection for Michael, but she really doesn't. Every other scene makes you believe that she loathes him. There's no sense to anything. I don't blame John Hurt for being annoyed with this rubbish.
This is completely out of hand. Of course, we've all heard stories of therapists and doctors sleeping with their patients, but this is so... Well, sleeping with the patient's spouse? In a way, it's just as bad as having sex with a patient. Even worse. And who knows what she's doing with Alison in those so-called meditation sessions? What the hell does she think she's doing?
These questions start to get incredibly dull by this point because you can't tell any discernible impact they've had on the plot. Dr. Turner creates a brief psychiatric evaluation at the end of every set, but they're so incredibly basic. If you say you think lying to your spouse is bad, then the evaluation will be, believes that secrets shouldn't be kept from spouses. It's fucking pointless, absolutely fucking pointless. Why is this a game? It's like if you took any movie, Blade Runner for example, and just spliced in absolutely meaningless questions.
What a day,
You look lonely.
I can fix that.
You look like a good Joe.
What the hell does she think she's doing?
Look, let's wrap it up. It goes back and forth for the next 40 minutes. Alison appears to be getting better. Michael continues trying to get Catherine to leave but ends up being seduced by her and having sex. I hope you like looking at this, by the way. It's very sexy, right? He looks like he's trying to find his car keys in the dark. It becomes apparent that Catherine has feelings for Alison beyond simply trying to help her. She claims she's only having sex with Michael to manipulate him into letting her stay long enough to help. But then Alison, none the wiser, initiates sex with Michael. At least I think it's sex. He just kind of gets on top of him for literally 30 seconds and then they lie back down again. I mean, I'm not judging, you know, it's just... I don't know. Catherine interrupts them and then goes to lie down in their dead daughter's bed. Michael goes to speak to her the next day and she says that she convinced Alison to have sex with Michael, but if she loves Alison, what's the point of that? The motivation of all of these people are completely nonsensical.
How could you do that last night?
Looks divine.
It was cruel and sick.
Perfect.
Why did you do it?
Do what?
Pretend you were Jody. It was horrible.
For whom? Allison benefited from it greatly. She needed to hear you talk to Jody like that. You've been ignoring her lately. This is so good. Your wife is something else in the kitchen. Pretty good in bed, too, from all the moaning and groaning going on.
Bitch.
Pretty hot and heavy, I'd say.
That's why you came in. You're jealous.
On the contrary, I'm the one that put her up to it. Got me all excited, actually.
What kind of a person are you?
The kind that got your wife back, isn't that what you wanted?
What the hell does she think she's doing?
For all we know, she's been having sex with Alison too, so absolute madness. Catherine explains it, but it really, really doesn't make any sense.
You think I shouldn't have done that, don't you? But I know what I'm doing. I'm getting close with Alison. Very close. If I let Michael off the hook now, he definitely would ruin everything I've been working for. He doesn't care about his wife. Oh, he thinks he does. But all he really cares about is himself. He'd actually be happier if she was still a little zombie. But I'm not going to let that happen.
Michael is now being haunted by the most terrifying thing you can encounter, an insanely attractive blonde supermodel desperately trying to have sex with you. But don't let me get ahead of myself because something unbelievably terrible is about to happen. Look at that Academy Award winning talent coming from Alison.
Alison? Alison? What's wrong? Alison, what's wrong?
Michael, you didn't do it, did you?
Do what?
Because if you did such a thing...
What did I do? What is she talking about?
Jody's dog.
What about the dog?
She's dead.
Michael, she was poisoned. Rat poison.
Come on, honey. Let's go back inside, okay?
So yeah, somebody murdered the dog. I wonder who it could possibly be. What a long list of culprits we have. Oh yeah, Catherine. It's utterly hilarious how Michael picks up the dog by both its legs and just dumps it into a fucking grave with a comical thud.
She's right about one thing, Punky. You are beginning to smell.
Zero feeling, zero remorse on this lunatic. There's this overblown tracking shot where Michael walks down to the basement, discovers rat poison, and then follows the trail of dirt back up to Catherine's room. How suspenseful! I wouldn't have guessed it was her. Michael's acting starts to go off the fucking rails, man.
You killed the dog.
Is that what you're doing, planting rat poison in my closet? Is that what you have behind your back?
No. You went down in the basement and you got the poison yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Wait till Alison sees this.
Sees what?
This is proof you killed the dog.
Don't be ridiculous.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna go take a shower with that shampoo you bought for me.
I want you out of here. I'm going down right now and I'm showing these to Alison.
Show her what? A pair of shoes you took out of my closet and pressed into the basement floor?
No. I didn't do anything like that.
Of course you did. And honestly, it's such a pathetic attempt to blame me for something that you did.
I didn't kill that dog.
You did! You did!
You did! You did!
You did! You did!
Both the actors and the video game have long given up at this point. Look at these questions. What the fuck does this have to do with the game? So instead of just throwing Catherine out and calling the police, Michael continues to throw a tantrum.
Get away from me. Get out of my house.
Why were you driving so fast?
I wasn't!
She'd still be alive. Just a little seatbelt and her head wouldn't have smashed against that windshield.
Stop it, please stop it!
Not only did you lose your daughter, but your wife is lost in some world where this didn't even happen.
You're evil. You're crazy.
You're crazy. You don't want to help your wife because you're sicker than she is.
No!
Face the truth, Michael. It's your fault.
No!
No. 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 You must die!
Catherine dishes out some hard truths, and those hard truths cause Michael to break down, but it's too little too late for us to start caring about this horrible character and just comes off as inauthentic melodrama. So everything is breaking down at this point. Catherine has convinced Alison that Michael killed the dog, and Michael has absolutely lost his mind.
What's for dinner?
Michael, you look terrible. What have you been doing?
I went for a walk in the woods. I fell asleep. I'm hungry.
We had dinner hours ago.
It's very important that you go up to your daughter's room and tell her that you're sorry. Promise her you'll get her a new dog.
Allison.
I don't want to talk to you until you do what Catherine tells you to do. I want you to apologize to our daughter.
He goes upstairs to Jodie's room and finds a doll in the bed, causing him to fall backwards down the stairs. I love how they don't seem bothered, just confused.
What on earth are you doing?
Michael, are you all right?
You're crazy. You're out of your mind. You're evil. You should be locked up.
Michael goes to see Dr. Turner, but he's not there, so he forces his way in and makes the receptionist give him the number of Catherine's employers. And finally does what he should have done days ago. He tells them to call Catherine and tell her to get the fuck out of the house. Alison isn't happy about this, as you can imagine, but post-traumatic stress somehow gives you the brain of an 8-year-old, so it's no big deal.
Honey, I'm home.
Michael, something terrible has happened.
Oh, what is it, honey?
Catherine's clinic called and told her she had to return to Portland right away.
Oh, that's too bad.
What are we gonna do?
Get along fine without her, just like we did before.
But Jody...
Jody is gonna be fine.
Catherine isn't happy about leaving before Alison had a chance to get better, so she takes matters into her own hands.
No more sessions. I want you to leave this house like you're supposed to.
Oh, I'm leaving. But not until my job's done.
Oh, it's done. It's over. It's bye-bye time.
I'm not leaving Allison in this half catatonic, childlike state. I'm not gonna leave her with a madman and just forget about her. It's time for her to face the truth.
You stay away from her.
I had planned on doing it my way, slowly and carefully. But you ruined that. Somehow I knew you would. Now you forced me to do it shockingly and abruptly.
What are you talking about?
She has to be made to recall that when you crashed the car, Jody's head smashed into the windshield and she died instantly. There's no more time to pretend, Michael.
No!
Yes. You've destroyed everything. And now it's time to kill the doll.
Kill the doll. What are you talking about?
Allison's transformed Jody into the doll. She even slept with it last night.
Don't do this. It won't work.
Yes, it will. Go and look.
Oh, my God.
It's good, isn't it? Allison?
Don't. It's too much for her.
You should have thought about that before you interfered with my work. Allison!
No!
Then you do it. You show her what you did.
No, please!
You're so afraid of the truth. Allison, it's time for you to face the truth.
Leave her alone.
This is what really happened in the car that night. Michael hasn't been helping you.
I said I won't let you do this.
Get away from
Give me the doll!
Allison!
Shit, it's getting physical. Better scream in her face, strangle her, and then turn my back on her completely. Where did that sledgehammer come from? I went back to look why it was there. I think Catherine used it to crack the doll. A bloody sledgehammer.
Michael would never hurt anyone.
Do you remember how upset he was?
Yes. He was very upset. He was more upset than I've ever seen him.
That's right. When we take care of her, she's safe with you. Maybe we can take her for a walk in her wheelchair.
Can we? That would be so much fun.
Oh, we're gonna have a lot of fun from now on.
And that's it. That was my crappy ending. Catherine convinces Alison to tell the police that killing Michael was in self-defense and they presumably live happily ever after. There's a few other endings, one where Michael kills Catherine and buries the body, and a strange one where Catherine survives the blow but with brain damage and they pretend she's their daughter. All the endings are utterly terrible. They made an actual movie with all the footage, but it's just as bad as the game. You can see the boom mics in about 100 different shots. In the movie, Michael kills Catherine, buries her in the garden, but Dr. Turner convinces him to turn over the body. Michael then goes to jail and Alison presumably goes to a psychiatric hospital. I suppose that's the canonical ending. TLC is really, really bad. There's no meaningful gameplay, your choices are inconsequential, the story is insultingly substandard, the acting is second class with the exception of John Hurt, who can't even manage to make it any more entertaining. It's overly sexual for no reason. You didn't need to see Catherine take her top off to understand what was happening, and none of the scenes go far enough to satisfy any sex perverts. The camera work is rudimentary, bordering on just plain bad, and there's a whole list of problematic themes. This game is insulting to anyone who suffers with trauma or mental illness. It portrays women as being either brainless and ineffectual or sex-obsessed manipulative homewreckers. The whole game revolves around psychiatry, yet it portrays psychiatry in such a bad light that I wouldn't be surprised if this game was funded by Tom Cruise.
I've never agreed with psychiatry, ever. And I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
Don't play this game, don't watch the full movie on YouTube, it's mostly just fucking dull. I hated playing Tender Loving Care and I hated having to rewatch it 100 times to make this video. I hope, however, that this video was at least entertaining for you. Thank you for watching, and if you like this, check out my other stuff. Have a good day, guys.